Introducing the 2026 USA Women's World Cup qualifying team. And on the graphic, you have Aaliyah Boston. Where is Caitlin Clark? Where's the moneymaker? Where's the needle mover? Where's the name that everybody knows? Where's the name that draws the most viewership? Where's the name that draws the most attention?
We need to face a hard truth about what's happening behind the scenes in USA basketball. This isn't just poor planning or a marketing misstep. It appears to be a deliberate effort to erase one of the game's biggest stars. For the past 2 years, the old guard of women's basketball, the gatekeepers, the legends, led by figures like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, have tried to slow Caitlin Clark's rise. They kept her off the 2024 Olympic team, which worked. They attempted to challenge her physically in the WNBA, which failed. They tried to minimize her presence in the media, and that failed too. Now, in 2026, they seem to be trying a new tactic, erasure. The official promotional graphic for the 2026 World Cup qualifying team includes Clark on the roster, but the marketing image tells a different story. Instead of featuring Caitlin Clark, the most famous basketball player on the planet, the player who has reshaped the business of the sport, you see Aaliyah Boston, Chelsea Gray, Ryan Howard. Clark, the very star driving ticket sales and hype, has been completely left out of the promotional materials for her own national team.
Not on the starting lineup. When you realize her own coach isn't even advocating her to be on the starting lineup. Newsflash. You think, let's take a look. Hey, Stephanie, who do you think we should go with to start? Caitlin Clark, the player on your team, the generational talent, or Chelsea Gray? You look at me with a straight face and tell me Stephanie White's going to pick Caitlin Clark. And I'll look back at you and tell you you're lying. She's going to say, oh, Chelsea Gray, oh, old guard.
Sue Bird's influence is still very much alive, even though she's retired. You might wonder, what power does she still hold? In the world of women's basketball, Sue Bird is like a shadow commissioner. She helped shape the WNBA's culture and still sets the tone. For the past 2 years, that tone has been one of quiet resentment. If Bird and Diana Taurasi wanted Caitlin Clark to be the face of USA basketball, she would be front and center on the poster. Instead, the legends have clung to their influence, keeping control and refusing to pass the torch. By leaving Clark out of the marketing, the message to fans is clear. This is not her team, it's still theirs. It's a calculated, passive-aggressive move meant to remind Clark that no matter how much she drives the sport's popularity or jersey sales, she remains beneath the hierarchy that Bird built.
Team USA made a massive mistake in 2024, failing to capitalize on the freight train that was Caitlin Clark.
Now, let's talk about the financial madness behind this decision. It's where the sabotage becomes unmistakable. The big question is simple. Where's the moneymaker? Think about it. If the NBA had promoted the 1992 Dream Team and left Michael Jordan off the poster to highlight Chris Mullin instead, the marketing team would have been fired immediately. USA basketball isn't exactly the NBA, but it still depends on fan interest, sponsorships, and viewership. Caitlin Clark is a literal golden goose, a player who draws millions of eyes just by stepping on the court. And yet, they chose to hide her. Instead, the poster highlights Ryan Howard, a talented player, but one with virtually no mainstream recognition. This wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate choice. Someone in a meeting said, "We don't want to make this about Caitlin."
Why?
Because putting Clark front and center would overshadow the legends before her. Ego has taken priority over economics. The old guard would rather control a smaller pie than share a massive one where Clark is the main attraction. The situation on the court looks equally shocking. The host predicts, and it seems likely, that Clark won't start in 2026. They plan to start Chelsea Gray, a veteran and program favorite, while Clark comes off the bench. Gray is a legend, no question, but Clark is the best point guard in the world right now. To bench her is an insult to the game itself. Even the coaching staff is implicated. Stephanie White, Clark's WNBA coach, is an assistant here, but the host describes her as old guard stamped and certified. It appears this could be a coordinated attempt to humble Clark, using the qualifying games in Puerto Rico not to showcase her talent, but to make her watch from the sidelines, feel sidelined, and submit to the hierarchy. All of this is happening under the guise of patriotism and team chemistry, masking what is clearly jealousy and control.
Also reveals that Breanna Stewart will join the basketball women's national team in Miami for training camp March 7th through 8th. So she wasn't announced on the roster, but she will be joining them for training camp March 7th through the 8th.
We also need to talk about the ghost at training camp. A small detail in the press release has sent shockwaves through Caitlin Clark's fanbase. Breanna Stewart, who isn't on the roster and won't play in the games, is attending the Miami training camp.
Why?
She's not there to coach. She's not there to cheer. She's there to police. Stewart is acting as the enforcer of the old guard culture, making sure the team doesn't become the Caitlin show. It's almost like surveillance. The message is clear. The new generation, Caitlin, Paige, Bucknose, Angel Reese, can't be trusted to lead the team on their own. This condescending move frames Clark not as a leader, but as a child who needs supervision from the legends. This ties directly into the so-called unrivaled conspiracy. Stewart, Nafisa Collier, and even Sue Bird, who is both an investor and advisor, have their own league interests and equity to protect. Could it be that they are trying to suppress Caitlin in USA basketball to protect the spotlight on players they are promoting in Unrivaled? If Clark dominates in Puerto Rico and becomes the face of the team, it would overshadow the veterans and undermine the narrative that the old guard is superior. Look back at the 2024 Olympic snub. That was the warning shot. They claimed Clark was left off the Paris team for basketball reasons, said she needed rest, and gaslit the public. The ratings were solid, but not historic. The team won gold, but the moment was lost. Now, 2 years later, they're doubling down. The 2024 decision wasn't a mistake, it was a policy, contained Caitlin. The policy is simple: use Caitlin Clark's name to sell tickets if needed, but never let her be the hero, never let her be the face. If she rises to that level, Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi fade into the background, and their egos can't handle it. The most unforgivable part? The fans. The casual fans, who make up about 90% of the basketball-watching public, are the ones buying merchandise and paying for cable packages. They want to see Caitlin Clark. They don't know the other players, and that's not their fault. It's the league's fault for failing to market them for decades. By hiding Caitlin, USA Basketball is essentially saying to those millions of fans, "We don't respect your interests." It's toxic gatekeeping. They would rather cater to a small, purist audience of a few thousand than embrace a global audience of millions drawn to Clark. Sue Bird knows how to build a star. She has the platform, the influence, and the reach. One gesture, putting her arm around Caitlin and saying, "This is the future," could unite the generations and end this tension. But she won't. Instead, we see silence, marketing graphics that exclude Clark, leaks suggesting she'll come off the bench, and training camp oversight from her best friend, Breanna Stewart. It's a coordinated effort to keep the spotlight on the old guard while keeping Caitlin on the sidelines. Even the other next-gen stars, Paige Buchers, Angel Reese, are being neutralized. They are grouped together under the supervision of veteran coaches and minders, diluting their individual brands. USA Basketball is effectively trying to control the narrative and limit the impact of the new generation. USA Basketball is trying to force Caitlin Clark and the next-gen stars into a system that stifles their creativity. Caitlin thrives when she's given control. We've seen it at Iowa and with the Indiana Fever. But the USA program is designed to enforce conformity and strip away individuality. For a player like her, that's a disaster. They want to turn a Ferrari into a minivan, make her pass to Chelsea Gray, and stand in the corner. And when she struggles under those restrictions, the narrative will be, "We told you she wasn't that good." The whole training camp could be a trap. Every detail matters. In high-level sports marketing, nothing is accidental. Every graphic, every player placement is approved at the highest levels. Leaving Caitlin off the official poster required someone to sign off and say, "Yes, this is what we want." That person is putting personal politics above the health of the sport. Sue Bird hasn't called this out. She hasn't used her platform to correct the injustice. That silence shows whose side she's on, the establishment, the status quo. When the games begin in Puerto Rico, the media narrative will likely follow suit. If Caitlin comes off the bench, the same outlets cultivated by Bird and others will spin it as her learning the ropes or earning her stripes. They will try to normalize the idea that the world's best player is just a role player on Team USA. This is sabotage. This is jealousy. And it needs to be called out now. This is a last-ditch effort by a fading generation to hold on to power for one more cycle. They can hide her face on a poster. They can bench her. They can send Brianna Stewart to watch over her. But they are fighting gravity. Caitlin Clark is inevitable. The more they try to suppress her, the louder the fans react. Comment sections are exploding. Twitter threads are on fire. Fans see through the games. USA Basketball thinks it's being subtle, but it's transparently petty. The old guard is trying to usher in a new era, but kicking and screaming. They hope that by delaying and controlling the narrative, Caitlin Clark's momentum will fade, letting them return to their comfort zone. But the hype isn't fading, it's growing. This latest slight, refusing to market the face of the sport, only fuels the fire. Sue Bird and the old guard may win this round of graphics and appearances, but the war for the soul of women's basketball is already over. The future belongs to Caitlin Clark, and no amount of Photoshop or politics can change that.